About 3 weeks. You can use that.
Took all the equipment, took the Rolling Stones mobile, and there was the casino. We parked everything outside and decided not to put the equipment in because Frank Zappa had a concert.
Doing a matinee concert at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And by the way, would you like to come?
Great Zappa concert, you know, Flo and Eddie in full flight and lots of fun. And Ian Gillan, I think, remembers seeing someone shoot a flare gun into the ceiling.
Saw these two, like Roman candles, flare across, and they lodged into the trunking.
Frank put the guitar down, so nobody panic, we've got a fire here.
All of a sudden, smoke started appearing, and within minutes, the thing was an inferno.
Why anybody would really care about this place burning down is beyond me. But the tonal qualities, the sound of Gillan's voice, plus the insistent riff, made the song important, made it impossible to get out of your head.
The Smoke on the Water guitar riff is, yeah, I mean, that's the whole thing. You know, that really is the whole... I mean, obviously, everything else enhances it, the lyrics and, you know, Smoke on the Water. But without the riff, it would be nothing.
And he came back playing the riff at a point where I didn't expect it to happen. You know, you kind of tend to think in fours. Everything's even numbers. And he just started playing this riff again after 3 times round the chorus as opposed to 4. Just when you think that other riff's going to come straight in, back to that, you know, that's magic, absolute magic to me.
It's not as heavy on the guitar as people think, but you also had that great organ supplying a lot of bottom to it. You had the bass guitar, and it comes across a lot heavier than it actually is when played on the guitar.
It's another trademark John thing. Hit a high note at the end and keep it on whilst playing the movement underneath. It's an old trick you learned from Jimmy Smith.
Smoke on the water, a fire in the sky. Get on it. Smoke on the water, yeah.
We'll never know what it sounded like had we recorded in the casino.
Claude was great. I mean, the very next day he'd sorted out a place called the Pavilion.
Very ill-chosen place, but it was a stopgap. And we put the mobile outside and started recording. Well, of course, within seconds there were complaints.
By the time we got round, I think, to recording Smoke on the Water, the police were there.
As we were doing the take of what would eventually be Smoke on the Water.
Da, 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 bang, bang, polizia, polizia.
We knew they were coming to close everything down.
And our roadies were holding the door shut, because apparently we were keeping up the entire town of Montreux.
So we actually had to get the track down before the police broke in and chucked us out.
But I just remember thanking the police, or saying thanks to the police of Switzerland, which, had they had their way, we would never have recorded Smoke on the Water.
Getting fairly desperate, came across a hotel which was closed for the season.
And we went to look at it, and it was a very forbidding place. It was an old Victorian, pile, huge, great thing.
This controlled situation you thought you had was out the window, and now you had to start from scratch. I mean, from the bricks up, literally, and we had to go and find the bricks.
So where do we record in here? I mean, so Martin Birch and the rest of us kind of just wandered around, and we found this area just off the main lobby, which was the end of a corridor.
It was in the depths of winter, and we would set up in the corridor of the hotel, and Ian Pace would be in a little alcove with his drums.
It was at a T-junction in the corridor, so we put the drums in the T, the guitar one side, keyboard the other side.
The whole thing was off the cuff at that point, and maybe that's some of the magic of it.
Check out Pacey's intro. Sheer madness.
I remember at the time, the rest of the band were a little bit worried about Ian singing about eagles and snow.
Somebody's shouting up at the mountain, only my own words return. Nobody's up there, it's a deception. When will I ever learn? I'm alone here, with emptiness, eagles and snow. Unfriendliness chilling my body, and whispering pictures of home.
So I kind of said, well, eagles and snow, it sounds good enough to me. Carry on.
Pieces of Home is an idea of Richie's, a shuffle. You know, we'd never had a formula, but it's always good to have a shuffle on an album. And he came up with this tune.
Across that 6/8 rhythm.
Yeah.
That was the idea. And we pretty much wrote it in his house and then brought it along and developed it within the band. It was one of those things. You have a neat, a little bit of an idea.
Lovely chord change there. I think he picked that up off some Eastern European shortwave radio. Probably the one built into his hat.
He told me that it was from a song called Out of Time. But of course, he does get Bulgarian radio signals coming through his head quite a lot. So
I heard the riff for that on a shortwave radio. And it was probably Bulgaria or Turkey or somewhere like that.
It's nice to hear Richie playing something that simple, driving. Organ. I mean, the whole thing bubbles along comfortably and nicely, all driven by this rolling, jazzy beat.
Ian Pace doesn't like playing. He loves to play bang, dang, dang, dang. Just the four in a bar on the either the bell or just off on the hi-hat or just off the rim, and it's great. It's very much Pacey.
Pacey's it's so easy. He makes it sound so easy, and I think that's again one of the keys of Deep Purple is you do something that's actually quite difficult, but it sounds very easy.
The solo starts with one of my favourite little. Something chromatic, and then I cheated and played the other half as an overdub, which you can see why I did it as an overdub. It saved a lot of time.
Here's the wind, and his play it again and again until it works. Bass solo. That's the one.